going to get into the topics for the show. So one of the big things that came out the day we were actually recording this, which is March 30th, the Destiny 2 reveal trailer came out. And I thought, I was a huge fan of the first Destiny as far as when it first released, and then I completely soured on it. I think that happened to quite a bit of people. I didn't buy the DLC. We can get into as a whole. I want this to be Destiny 2 expectations, but I first want to cover the trailer specifically. I'm going to go over some details. We'll discuss that, and then we'll go over our expectations for the next game.
So I just want to say that they totally screwed up the name with this one. Because obviously the correct name for this game would be Destiny's Child.
Yes, and if you haven't heard that joke before, you're living under a rock. The trailer starts off. We actually had a teaser before this with Cade 6, who's voiced by Nathan Fillion. If you don't know who that is, go watch an episode of Firefly. They had the reveal trailer today. It starts off with Zavala, who was the Titan Vanguard, who's essentially the guy who leads the class for Titans. Cade 6 is the same for Hunters. And it starts off with Zavala giving this big speech about what they need to do to defeat this new enemy, and I'll go on into who the new enemy is now for Destiny. But he's giving this very heartfelt, emotional speech, something you see in most action movies of like, we got to go out there and get him, we need to do what's best. And it cuts in between that and Nathan Fillion's character, Cade 6, giving this very jokesterish, laid-back, we got to do it, or I'm going to kill you. Like, just this very funny tone to it. And me personally, the first, 30 seconds of that have way more personality than all of the original Destiny game.
Ooh.
I think the biggest problem with Destiny, so I've said this before, Destiny's gameplay, phenomenal. Some of the best gunplay in the industry. My problem with that game is it lacked any substance. It went for this hardcore space epic, this sci-fi narrative that really has no meaning. You never really even got to meet any characters. You met them, quote unquote, but there was never any personality there. I saw more personality in Cade 6 in that teaser in this than anything else I saw in Destiny. A lot of people felt that in the DLC that they kind of worked on that, right, and made the characters a little bit more lovable, a little bit more relatable. But I think this trailer itself has way more personality, which lends towards a more positive outlook on the future of Destiny 2. Really quick before we get into that stuff, the Cabal are the major enemy. They attack the tower, which is kind of like the hub place. We never got a chance to look at the city in the first game. The whole city is attacked in this, which from that kind of perspective, it's weird because you don't really have any connection to a city you never got to go through and be personally attached to. So it's like, okay, the city that was right below me the entire game, cool, whatever. There's a new big bad, which I think is cool because one of the major issues with Destiny, I felt from a narrative perspective, is that you never really knew who the real enemy was, right? There was all these different factions.
Darkness.
Yeah, and that's
darkness.
Super vague and boring. And you heard with the raids and stuff like that, you got these big bads. You were like, oh, who's that? I want to know more about them. And you had to dive deep into all these weird angles that you shouldn't have to. And with this, from this moment where they even make a joke about his name. He's like Gil or Gary or whatever his name is, and they're like, no, it's Gaul. He's the leader of the Red Legion. This seems like a Cabal faction. Or Legion rather. So that's cool. There's already a big bad you have to look out for. You already know who the main antagonist is, right? Which I think is great for the vision of this game. They show all of the gear being blown up, which is context for you not having your character's gear transfer over, which is still, it sucks that it's not happening, but at least there's some context there. All of the whole armory got destroyed, so no wonder you don't have any of your gear, right? So it's a smart way to lend context to that. Like I said before, this has more personality in this trailer than the entire game of Destiny, in my opinion. I felt it has more heart, character. I love the serious and funny, the cutback between the two characters. For me, some of the best pieces of entertainment are when there's a funny man and a straight man. We're going to be seeing that soon with Deadpool and Cable. We saw that with some of the Justice League teasers with Batman and Flash. I've always loved that dynamic, the rush hours and stuff like that, lethal weapons. So I think this has a chance to be great if it lends into that. It's coming out September 8th. There's pre-order beta access and stuff like that. I'm cautiously optimistic. For me, I just want to hear from you guys how you feel this relates to your experiences with the first Destiny, and what are your expectations for Destiny 2? Are you going to buy it? Do you think it'll be a good game, but do you think it'll meet those expectations?
I guess I've been living under a rock. I didn't even watch the trailer. I saw that teaser, and But I guess that tells you all I have to say is that I really couldn't care less about this. I played the first one through the single player experience, and that was about the extent of it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is basically the same game. And hopefully, they make the story a little more interesting. I think that should be expected, but I don't know. I don't have huge expectations for it. They're gonna have to prove me. You know what I mean? I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt at all here. I'll be busy playing Call of Duty World War II and Battlefront 2 this fall. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I'll buy the complete edition in about a year and a half or two when it's much cheaper and I'm not trying to buy all these seemingly overpriced expansions.
That's what I wanted to think I was going to do too. But for this kind of game especially, that like hardly works because everyone else by that time is so over leveled and you kind of get your ass kicked.
Yeah, but that's not really. I mean, to me, that's not a concern. But for you, yeah, I can totally.
Also, for these games with the DLC, they kind of give you this item that kind of boosts you up to the lowest threshold to be able to compete with other people. So they do a good job at that of like keeping you in the mix. They World of Warcraft it, where like you start a character, you're fine, you know. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Destiny, but it seems like from what everybody's saying is that they actually worked on this from the ground up. The guy who basically was the lead in Destiny isn't the lead anymore. It's a new person. And I think they realized that, you know, though they compared it to an MMO and stuff like that, it was very light on any RPG elements whatsoever. Outside of just upgrading your own class, like your own character, through the weapons and that kind of stuff, there wasn't a whole lot of RPG stuff there. The NPCs were very lackluster. Like I said, the tower was pretty much the only time you ever met a lot of characters, you know. Through the story, it was all narration. Another thing, people were concerned that ghosts weren't returning. Nolan North is confirmed to be in this game too, so it looks like he's returning as the voice of the ghost, which is good because any game with Nolan North is probably going to be a good game, obviously. For me, I'm kind of I'm in the middle of what I was when Destiny came out and what you guys seem to be now. Of this could be a day one purchase for me, but I'm very cautious and I'm very hesitant. I've gotten to this point with Activision, and it's funny because I love Blizzard so much, but Blizzard is Activision now. So to me, I still separate it as like there's the Blizzard and then there's the Activision, even though they are Activision Blizzard. But like the way they've handled Call of Duty to me personally with the Call of Duty 4 situation and the way I felt really burned by Destiny, the way I feel is that you shouldn't have to... The game shouldn't be good a year from now. It should be good the day it releases. Like, the fact of the matter is everyone always talks about the DLC was so good it turned into a whole new game. That still doesn't justify me paying $60 on the
busy
day
with other
and
shit
feeling let down.
at that point.
That doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. And... I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it will be a whole different game. A lot of my friends are excited for this. But to be completely honest with you, if this comes out anywhere near Red Dead 2, it's an afterthought to me. And I don't know if that's the case for a lot of people.
Early... You said September 8th. That's an early one.
Yeah, well, also there's rumors of Red Dead 2, the leak, it being October 3rd. So that's like less than a month apart, which is plenty of time to play Destiny. But like the way the fall hits, man, if there's probably going to be something right before Destiny that comes out. And with all of the games we're hearing about, with me personally, I'm super excited for State of Decay and Crackdown and all these other games. I don't know if I'm even going to look twice at Destiny 2, whether or not it meets my expectations and what I want out of it. You know, there's just so many other sci-fi games and stuff like that I have way more interest in. Like, I'm super excited for Prey personally. I think Prey looks like an awesome game, and I
can't wait.
Yeah, I'm just cautiously optimistic for Destiny 2, so we'll see where that goes.
I think Prey's the closest I'm going to get to Dead Space 4 right now.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe this Ken Levine game, considering it has a lot of System Shock 2 vibes, which, yeah, that's going to be great.